Here we go.
And we are live.
We should be like, oh yeah, we're just sitting there staring. Hey guys, how are you doing? I hope you are all doing super well. Oh yeah, we had the awkward smile moment. We should be like, oh, and we got the audio. Wow, super professional. Hey guys, how are you doing? Oh, and by the way, we are getting all of the latest episodes up on podcast, like hopefully this week.
Awesome.
So I've had all of those converted into podcast format, and we will be putting those out hopefully this week. And I think we're going to be trying to get them all out as podcasts on a weekly basis from now. Cool. Yeah, so hey everyone, I hope you are all doing super well. We're in that just kind of sad January,
the come down,
winter come down. I know, it's like, oh, it gets better. We've got Valentine's Day coming up, so that's good. Hey Stevie, hope you're doing well. Hi Chris and Brenda, I hope you are all having a very lovely Tuesday. So this is Tangent Show number 37, and we kind of have an artsy theme this week. We've got quite a lot of sort of arty things to talk about. I'm going to be talking about, I got an iPad. So we can cool. we'll be talking about that in a bit, and how I'm using that in an artistic sort of way, a very artistic way. We've got hey, can I have a treasure hunting moment?
Oh, okay.
So
sure.
I went to the Goodwill.
Yes.
I went to Goodwill. See, I know people are like, oh, Katharyne with this fancy KDP, she's not like treasure hunting anymore. Wrong! I've been treasure hunting. Oh wait, I gotta do it. So it's like, hello, treasure hunters.
Like old times.
All right, check out what I got in the Goodwill, because I just have to show off about this. Oh my gosh. It's really big. Heavy. It's really heavy. Really heavy. Look at this. I got Italian candlesticks. This is great. I feel like I can like kill Nosferatu with this.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
It's pretty heavy. So it's like, it's got the print in there somewhere. So it's a wait, I've forgotten what it's called. I think it's like see, I don't know much. There we go. Brevitato. It's a Brevitato candlestick, and I have another one.
Yes,
I got two of them.
She got two of them.
But this one's
picked them both up. What, for $20?
No, it was it was $12.99 each. And guess what?
What?
Well, I thought they were worth about $400, and then someone came and told me that they found one that had sold for $800. Well, a pair that had sold for $800.
$800.
So I'm like, yes, I've still got it. We're still treasure hunting. Actually, I got another crazy thing from the same Goodwill, believe it or not, like a week ago. Denise said, did I get it to resell? That's a good question, Denise. I got it, and I was just like, well, because they were putting stuff out from the bins, and I saw it, and I was like, whoa, that's heavy. That's like, there's something solid and good about this. So I just grabbed it and bought it. And then I came home and did some research, and I was like, ooh, it's actually worth something. But I kind of want to keep them.
Yeah, we're keeping them.
They look pretty awesome on the mantelpiece. Cool. So I'm like, actually, I think I'll keep them for now, and we'll see. Saving them for the Guru mansion. It's like you got the Lamborghini and the candlesticks and the scotch. That's the path. I got something else from the same Goodwill, but I'm a bit hesitant to show it because it's a little bit on the
No, it'll be fine.
Okay. Well, this is one of those things. So it's from 1978. So times were a little different then, and I guess they were being pretty progressive. So they put out Cindy doll. So here's this pretty awesome Cindy doll. But yeah, that was a little less progressive that they named her Cindy's friend. But that's a $300 Cindy doll.
A $300. Wow. And you got this, what, $13?
Yeah, but I feel a little unhappy about it, the fact that they called her Cindy's friend. But I guess she's called Gail, so she actually has kind of a fan following.
Right, okay.
So they did give her a name. But yeah, I found that in the Goodwill too. So I had a really good week. So here's the thing, I'm not really actively treasure hunting anymore, but my son lives he lives with us, obviously, but he takes like piano classes
down the street
by the Goodwill, and so there's not much else to do, so I just go in there.
So we got two options. We got GameStop, or we have the Goodwill to hang out for about 45 minutes while he's taking piano lessons. I like to go to GameStop, she likes to go to Goodwill.
It's kind of fun to still keep my hand in a little bit.
Yeah.
And buy huge candlesticks to bring home and put on the mantelpiece. You know, it's funny because that one doesn't usually have a whole lot of cool things. Like,
oh yeah,
I just got lucky this last week, so I thought I would share that because I know people always like seeing cool finds. So I hope everyone's doing well. Oh yeah, I wanted to give this a shout out. So we talked about this last week, but I didn't actually show it. And I ordered it and it arrived today. So this is Johanna Basford's book, and I know there was quite a bit of buzz in the group about it, and there still is because people are using it. But it's really fun if you want to learn to draw in Johanna Basford's style. This is the book for you. So apparently she also has some really good courses on her website, but I haven't checked those out yet.
And a quick recap for those of you that didn't catch it. Johanna Basford is pretty much the lady that single-handedly jump-started the modern adult coloring.
She kind of did, yeah. She was probably the most sort of successful adult coloring book creator, and pretty much, her books.
She started the whole movement,
So it's kind of fun that actually now she's teaching people how to sort of do her style and how to draw like that. So really cool to see that. Oh, okay. So I wanted to talk about Amazon prints. So let me bring that up. So we've actually talked about this before, and I know we've talked about it in some of our videos and maybe a course before, but I can't remember which ones. And I know we talked about it at ASD as well.
Curate, we talked about it.
Is it in Curate? It might be. So anyway, Amazon have a service because this came up in the group and I can't remember. Oh yeah, someone wanted to create a poster in the group, and they were asking about what the best way is to create a poster. And I know there's a lot of options for posters. There's things like Redbubble and I think Printful. And I really like Stationery HQ. That's another really good site for print on demand, like cards and posters and prints.
And you go to FedEx office.
And you can, you can.
That's what I do. If I need a poster right away, I'll go to FedEx office, send them my PDF and print it out. But
but what is really cool is that Amazon actually have a service to do prints, photographs, canvas artwork, like wall artwork, tabletop artwork, all of those things. And it's called Amazon Prints. And actually, it's pretty reasonable. So I know I made these. I dug these out. I made these about a year ago.
Yeah.
They are. I made these about a year ago for ASD. And these were just a couple of like photographs that I don't know. I don't remember how I did the artwork. I probably did it in Canva.
It was Canva.
But I think their photos are 12 cents each.
Oh,
so you can print photos for 12 cents each. And I had sort of some ideas with these that you can make like frameable packs, like for a nursery or for an office. Like you can make motivational pictures, or you can make like little art pieces that people could put in like, I don't know, like a triptych sort of photo holder or something. Yeah. Like there's a lot of things you can do with that. And I think people can also bundle them with their books.
Oh yeah.
So like you can make like a special edition of your book with some prints. Like that would be pretty cool, especially for people who are doing like art books. You could sell your art book with bonus prints, and that would add like a big amount of value to them.
That's pretty cool.
And these are like 12 cents each.
Wow.
So you can make a pack of 8 for less than $1.
That's pretty cool.
Which is pretty awesome. And you can, I don't know, you can sell them in packs on FBA. You can sell them on the marketplace.
The quality is really nice.
It really is.
The colors are vibrant. It's got the gloss. It's basically like photo paper. It's really cool.
Yeah. So I thought I would share that. I thought you guys might like to see there's another option for printing prints, photographs, posters, and maybe like a whole business plan in there as well. They also do the photo books, which is pretty interesting to see.
Oh yeah.
So like Amazon do their own. It's called Amazon Prints. DL Art was asking, Amazon Prints. So I'll put a link to it in the show notes underneath. Cool. When we've finished the show.
Awesome.
So, you know what's going on in the group at the moment?
What is going on?
We're having a big debate on what is the best decade.
What is the best decade?
Yeah. Wow. Do you? What are your thoughts on the best decade?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm not kind of.
You're kind of 90s.
I do. I kind of like the 90s. I don't know if it was the best, like but that's like my era. The 70s seem kind of cool.
You know, it's funny because I feel like I've always been sort of an 80s girl, but more and more recently, I feel I'm sort of keep vibing into the 70s. Like
Now, are just from 1900 to now, or can you go even further?
You can go whatever. You could be like, oh, 1720. That was my decade. If you really want to.
I think during like the Renaissance era, it'd be cool to like hang out with like the great master painters.
Why do you have to like make? You have to mess up the format.
Maybe go back in the 60s, hang out with Salvador Dali.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. I can
just
see
hang out with his anteaters. And
so there was a reason to our madness. My thought was that everyone's kind of hyped up at the moment with 2020 because it's like, whoa, we're back in the 20s. We should all start wearing pearls and flapper dresses and doing the Charleston, and it'll be awesome. I can't do pearls because boobs. But the 20s are kind of like back in fashion. And I think what's really interesting is I feel that now people are really like relaxed about what decades you're into. Like I feel like it used to be like, oh, you've got to be fashionable and you've got to be now and you've got to wear what's cool now. And I see all the kids going around in 90s clothes and finding like you can wear pretty much any.
Oh, when it comes to fashion, it's just everything's chaotic.
It really is.
It's like anything goes. No one cares anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting because I think you can pull from that to create like original books. Like I know I suggested in the group, like you could do, like you can make an 80s themed journal. And like what would be in an 80s themed journal if you made a guided journal?
Yeah.
Like it'd be really fun. You can have your playlists with like a big cassette tape in the background. You write on the cassette what songs are your favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you could put like your favorite 80s recipes.
Oh.
Like what if I don't know what Americans ate in the 80s. I ate crispy pancakes and Alpha Bites. Those were like super big in the UK. It was all about the crispy pancakes. What did you eat in the 80s?
You know, not pretty much the same thing we eat now. I don't know if there's anything specific other than like store-bought food. I mean, but then I was a little kid. I mean, I remember eating Kool-Aid. I remember Malta-Meal.
Oh,
it was like a little porridge type dish.
There you go. So Pop-Tarts, are they kind of
Pop-Tarts?
80s?
I remember Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
I think so. Maybe 90s. Hot Pockets. I remember those were huge.
There you go. So like you could do an 80s themed journal. Would be really fun. Or 70s. Like I love all like the classic rock. And that's kind of my 70s vibe. I love that whole sort of era of like, I don't know, Eagles, Fleetwood Mac kind of.
Yeah, you know, I was talking to my mom a couple of weeks ago and I was telling her how like people in the 70s seemed like they were way more in shape than people are today.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you look at old photos and everyone seems to just be really well built. They have like six packs. The guys have six packs. You know, the girls are wearing swimwear.
What 70s like?
I just photos I've seen of the 70s where I feel like today we're all like slightly just. But anyways,
these guys in swimwear and these girls in swimwear and the guys with six packs. Like
photos I've seen. Anyways, so I was asking my mom about it. And she said her theory was that this was the age before they invented microwaves.
Well, so everyone was bored.
They said people had to cook their own food, and most of the time they couldn't be bothered, so they would skip meals, and just eating wasn't a big thing. And their portions were a lot smaller.
Okay.
Then the microwave came out, and it was just basically you have food anytime you want.
There you go. So it was the age of the microwave ruined everything. It was like microwaves killed the. I don't know. Gosh, I need more sleep. It's been a really long week, guys. Oh yeah, everyone was super stressed out because KDP wasn't reporting sales for a while. They seem to be dribbling back in now. So I guess what happened, they didn't lose sales. Like people were like, oh my gosh, Amazon have lost all my sales. No, curse you, Bezos. I don't think Amazon have lost your sales. So at first Amazon was saying there was no problem, and then later on more people were emailing them, and then Amazon said, yes, there is a problem and we are working to resolve it. It looks like it was either a shipping or a reporting delay, because basically the way it works, you sell your book on Amazon, they ship the book, then they report it as a sale. So I think the sales were going through all right. And I think what was happening was either they were being slow to ship them. I guess they print them, then they ship them, then they report it. So they're being slow to either print them or ship them. And what's kind of interesting is I had it was kind of interesting. I had a sort of chance meeting with someone who works for KDP actually. And they said, and this was a couple of months before Christmas, and they said they were expecting a really big rush on author copies, which I thought was really interesting. So they said it wasn't just sales directly through the website, but it was actually sales. And I'm not doing like I know someone who works for Amazon, because I don't. It was just kind of one of those like chance meetings. and I got to ask him some questions. But that was pretty much the gist of it, that they were waiting for a lot of author copies to sell. So I thought that was really interesting. Like, not just
you never know.
Well, no, because I think about it, they get like a lot of bulk orders. Like,
no, I get that. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah. Anyway, the gist of it is don't panic. They had a reporting delay. They had a shipping delay, and hopefully your sales should be going through now. You should be seeing those. Yay.
Yes, and the important thing is that they've replied back to multiple people who've requested, saying that yes, Amazon admitted that they had an error on their end.
Yeah,
which is always
it's one of those weeks for technology. Oh my gosh. So that was why we were late actually starting today, because my computer decided to reboot itself. And yeah, it took forever.
Install a necessary update.
I know, I didn't ask it to do that. It did it. But we're kind of slaves to technology now. It's like if social media says, like, if Facebook changes, right, they never warn you, like Facebook or Amazon or whoever. If they make a change, they're not going to tell you. It just, one day you go to your computer and you're like,
and everything's different.
It's great fun. It keeps things exciting, keeps us on our toes. Cool. Oh, so let's see what else we have to do. Oh my gosh, I've got a lot of things today, so I'm just trying to figure out what the best order is to go through them. Okay, you know what? Because I said this is like our artsy show.
Let's stick with
I want to talk. Can I do Nerd Corner? Can we do? It's Katharine's corner today.
Yeah, let me scratch off what I had.
Yeah. Bye, Isaac. You're fired from Nerd Corner. Not really.
Okay. And now we're gonna have Nerd Corner with Katharyne.
Nerd Corner with Katharyne. Hold on, I'm still getting myself together here. Okay, so I want to talk about tracing. Oh, well, I want to talk about iPads and tracing. So I got a new iPad. Yay! This is my iPad. So I got a new iPad. I didn't get the iPad Pro. I thought about it, and then we looked at it, and I was like, the specs of the iPad Pro aren't really that different from a regular iPad.
For what what she plans on using it for.
Who would you say could benefit from an iPad Pro? Because I know this has come up in the group. People have said, well, what kind of iPad should I get? What's the best one?
Okay, the iPad Pro is marketed, and Apple's trying to convince us that it is a laptop replacement. So if you're in the market for a new MacBook Pro, you might be better off getting an iPad Pro, which is cheaper than a MacBook Pro by half, but still a little pricey. And so that's what.
So I figured, like, this is just kind of for fun, and I already have like my MacBook, so I would just get the regular iPad. So what I've been using it for, and this kind of leads on from the Johanna Basford book and the learning to draw. So I am notoriously bad at drawing or crafting or anything that involves hands or like working with your hands. But I'm really enjoying Procreate, and I want to share what I've been doing with Procreate. So okay, actually you can see from this, you can kind of see the quality of my art. That's my picture of Isaac saying I like cats called Banksy. So you can pretty much see the quality of my artwork there. But what I've been doing with this is I've been practicing tracing. So I found like pictures that I liked on the internet. Now these are obviously not my pictures. They are copyrighted to someone else. So don't take this as me saying, hey, steal someone's pictures, trace them and sell them. These are like my practice work for my eyes only, and just to share with you as what I'm doing. So this is like a picture I traced. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the original picture, because I kind of didn't understand tracing. And now I do. So awesome. I figured if I didn't understand tracing, I'm going to come clean about that and share with people how I learned to do it. So this is the original picture that I traced. So let me bring that up. So there we go. This is someone's really awesome picture that they drew. And I don't know where I found it, somewhere on the internet. And I thought that was such a beautiful picture. In fact, I think it's from a video game. I think it's from the Cyberpunk video game that's coming up.
Oh, okay.
So this is what I do. So I bring in my picture, or from whichever I want to trace. And then I add an extra layer. I add a second layer. And what I do is I make the original picture. I just pull down the opacity on that to like, it's hard to do when I'm not watching the screen. Oh, hold on. There we go. If I was like professional, I would like mirror the iPad to my screen. Okay, so I bring the opacity down like that. Yeah, so it's kind of faint. And then I put another layer over the top. And then what you do is you just trace the picture. So like, for example,
can you hide the bottom layer so we can see just your...
Oh yeah, so I just traced over the picture with my pen. And if I take away the bottom layer,
it looks like a sketch.
That's what my tracing looks like. And now I have zero artistic skill or talent or anything along those lines. I'm just kind of practicing tracing, but it's a really fun way of like learning to draw. But also, so let me go back to my gallery. So for example, let me make this a little bit bigger so I can share it. I went out just now and I took a picture of, there we go. I took a picture of some flowers outside in our garden. And what you can do is add in another layer again. And again, I'm going to pull down the opacity and I'm going to make my background color white. There we go. And, oh, I go back to the main layer. This is a great tutorial. And now
watching you.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
No, but now what you can do, right, is you can like trace around the flowers. And that's all it is. So you just get the Apple Pencil and you can trace like that. I'm doing a horrible job.
Yes. And so for those you curious,
but you pretty much just trace like that.
Newer iPads, I believe from 2018 and newer, not the iPad Pros, but just the regular iPads now support Apple Pencil. First generation Apple Pencil, which is just as good as the second, in my opinion.
The really cool thing is with the pencil, like you can do so much, like even if you suck at artwork, what you can do, and this is great if you want to make coloring books, you can go out, take photographs of whatever it is, flowers, cats, like your house, whatever. And then you can do that trick. So you just create 2 layers. Actually, you need 3 layers because you need one for a background color, one for the picture, and one for your image that you're drawing over the top. And then you just pull down the opacity a bit, and then you can trace it, and you can create coloring books. So like, even if you can't draw, you can trace your own photographs. Yeah. So it's a pretty cool way of creating coloring books. Like I literally, I don't draw. I suck at drawing, but I'm really happy with sort of how tracing works, and so I'm kind of enjoying that. I just wanted to share that.
So the other thing I would say, if you are a professional artist and you do a lot of work on an iPad, you would benefit from the Pro because it has a faster processor and a lot more RAM. So like Katharyne, who's kind of excuse the term, a newbie art person.
I have skills.
The regular iPad is more than enough for her. However, in a year or two, as she progresses her art skills, she may decide to upgrade to an iPad Pro because she might run into the limitations with the regular iPad.
Yeah, I think the storage is bothering me a little bit. I would like a bit more storage. So I don't know. Yes, I have been checking that out, and it is pretty cool. 111. He said there's some really, really awesome Adobe apps. There's Capture. There's like Sketch. What's the other ones? There's a whole bunch of them that are really, really.
You
cool.
haven't even
There's
touched.
Fresco.
Yes, Fresco's another one.
Sketch is the other one. So yeah, there's a lot.
And then also the iPad now supports Sidecar, which means that you can use the tablet as a second monitor to your MacBook. Or iMac, and then also you can use it as like a Wacom tablet with certain programs like Photoshop. So that's really, really cool.
Don says, what is Adobe Capture? Adobe Capture is pretty interesting. It allows you to make like graphic assets in a way. So you can create vectors with it. You can create some patterns. Like there's a lot of things you can do. There's also, you can make like balls. I'm not really sure what you do with it, but you can take your picture and turn it into like a sphere.
Oh, okay.
Which is, it looks awesome.
You can rotate it around.
I'm not really sure what you do with that. But
I can think of a few cases, maybe like VR, AR related, maybe 360. I don't know. Just off my head. I don't know.
So that's trace. You know, here's the thing. I was like, okay, I understand that you can trace on an iPad. I just don't quite understand how you do it. And I know like Jordan talked to me a while back about tracing because his coloring books, the way he did his was he took public domain B movies and traced like certain scenes from the movie, which was genius. And
I put a whole movie in a book. Like he did it
like
times.
3 times, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And I thought that was so clever how he did that. But I didn't quite understand the process, so I actually looked it up on YouTube, and I found this guy doing a tutorial, and he was literally putting the paper over the iPad, and I was like, hang on, wait, this seems a bit off. And he was doing that, and then all these guys in the comments were just like, bruh. So I was like, okay, I think there may be another way to do that. So also, did someone ask about Android? Yeah, you did. You just answer that?
Wait, what was the question?
Oh, Don said, someone said, what about Android?
I didn't
Oh wait,
see that.
I think it was just up there.
Okay, I missed that.
Oh, there it is. What about, oh, sorry, it was DL Art. He said, what about Android type tablets? I have a PC and can't use Apple with it.
I don't know a whole lot.
Well,
about
I guess you could
Android
always pull the pictures over to your PC, like the
yeah. I mean,
products,
you don't need a Mac.
I think if you have Adobe,
benefit from an iPad.
So the other thing that's really cool, I used Capture on my iPad. So I'm using Procreate. The tool I just showed you all is Procreate. But I was using Capture and I created a vector, and it said send to Illustrator. I did send to Illustrator, and it popped up on my computer as if by magic.
Yeah, it's pretty
I was
awesome.
like, whoa, technology.
Yeah. So if you have Adobe products, I believe they everything goes to their Adobe Creative Cloud. So you can transfer files just within Adobe's cloud service. But if you don't have Adobe or you're using another program, there's a couple of ways you can transfer files to a PC. I personally prefer Dropbox. So I know when I had my Android phone and my Mac, they didn't really talk well together. So I would just move everything to Dropbox, and I had access to the files on whatever system I was on.
Sorry about the wobble. I was just getting us a little bit more in the frame. Actually, I'm losing you there. There you are. Yay, now we're perfectly in the frame. Okay. Oh, Unsplash. So I did in December, towards the end of December, I made a document that was a year in review document. And it had a list of websites with their year in review. So if you're in our group, you can actually go to the group, go to the file section and download it from there.
And this is our Facebook group,
in our KDP
Facebook group. Yeah.
Facebook group. But what I wanted to share with you is that Unsplash just published their year in review from 2019, and they just put this out. Now, Unsplash is actually, of all of the free photo resources, Unsplash is probably the one I like the most.
Oh, it's awesome. Yes.
So this is their licensing. All photos published on Unsplash can be used for free. You can use them for commercial and non-commercial purposes. You do not need to ask permission from or provide credit to the photographer or Unsplash, although it is appreciated when possible. And then they talk a bit more about it. Sorry, I'm just stopping because Messi asked a question. He's in Germany, and yes, we already have a meal planner and budget planner.
No, he's asking to edit.
Can you edit
the
them
text
in the browser?
Okay. At the moment, no.
Well, okay. You can't edit them directly in Tangent templates yet, but you can pull them into, well, we give you the InDesign and Illustrator files for them, so you can edit them in InDesign directly. You can also Illustrator, or you can pull them into Keynote or PowerPoint, and you can even convert them within Tangent templates. You can convert them to a PNG and pull them into Canva. So you have multiple ways of editing them, and we try and make it as easy for you as possible to edit them in the tool of your choice. And
yes, everyone has their own favorite graphic program they prefer to use.
And we have tutorials of all of those. Okay, back to year in review. Oh my gosh, Barbara Bailey's making me laugh. She said, year in review makes her think of all the old Christmas letters that her dad used to send. You know, that is so sweet, Barbara. My family did the same thing. And the funny thing is, there's just my aunt and uncle are the people who still do a year in review, and they live in England. And they had 6 kids, so they do like a little snippet on each of the 6 children. Now, the 6 children, when they started doing it, were young, and now they're kind of like my age or a little bit younger than me.
Yeah.
But it's always fun because he uses a lot of Latin. So I always have fun like reading.
Oh, yes, yes.
You always enjoy Uncle Brian's Latin.
Yeah.
Like, yes. I did like a year of Latin at school because I was at ladies' college, you see. So at ladies' college, we had to learn some Latin. I no longer remember
no Latin.
much.
No. I did a little bit of Pig Latin in high school.
Well, there you go. See, it's the same thing.
See, same thing.
Same thing. But
it's modern.
Well, I was kind of always on the sense of like, am I likely to meet a dead Roman? No, I'm not. But you know, it's funny because I feel like the older I get, the more into like weird history and like $800 candlesticks I get. So I think I learned that there was money in old stuff. So now I wish I'd paid more attention.
The way our life works, there's going to be a time where like you're desperately going to need to know Latin and call this information for whatever reason.
we're going to be like the Goonies. We'll be like trapped in some cave, like seconds away from death or
Does
treasure.
anyone know Latin?
Oh, I wish I'd paid attention to Miss Honey and back in. Yeah. So anyway, but what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Unsplash. Oh my gosh, this is why we're called Tangent. You see, it's like it's legit. So thank you for the nice words about Tangent templates. Oh, Chris and Brenda said they just used the listing helper, and all I can say is thank you. That makes uploading much easier. Yay! Thank you, Isaac, for building an awesome listing helper. Let's go back to Unsplash.
Yes.
Okay, so basically Unsplash give you a license to put to use the works on there pretty much any way you want. You can use it commercially and non-commercially. So you can use Unsplash pictures in your books. And they say even though credit isn't required, it's really nice to give credit because really photographers upload their pictures to Unsplash to make their name known, to get seen. So it's really nice to actually credit them. I feel like a huge hypocrite now because I have an awesome, this is actually an Unsplash picture behind us. I will put credits in the YouTube.
There you go.
In the YouTube notes because I'm
going to hold you accountable to that.
I know, I'm like such a hypocrite. I just suddenly realized like I'm using an Unsplash picture and I didn't credit it. Anyway, so what is interesting, Unsplash did, I love how they did this, by the way, these arrows. Like, guys, take notes on this because this is something you could do on your covers, like take photos and just do cutouts of shapes or like, that looks pretty awesome, doesn't it? So Unsplash put out their year in review. Now, one of the concerns people often have with Unsplash is, are the pictures safe to use? Even though they say it's fine, it's commercial use, there's always that worry, and especially with things like Pixabay and Pexels in the past, of has someone uploaded something they don't have rights to, and is the original owner going to come after you? So I thought this was actually really helpful because Unsplash in their year in review listed their top contributors, their best artists, and put a bunch of examples. So you know these people are pretty much safe. Or like you would hope so, if Unsplash is showcasing them. So these are pretty much pictures you can use in or on your books. I would add,
go right ahead.
I would add 2 caveats to that.
Yes.
One, watch out that there's not trademarks in the picture, because that can be an issue. So if it's like a picture of like, I don't know, a BMW logo, I would avoid that because that's a trademark issue. The other thing, I would avoid any pictures of people that are recognizable. Like, I don't know, I mean, this picture, they've kind of got hats covering their faces. So okay. I don't think, but this I would be really careful because that could imply endorsement.
Yes.
You were gonna...
No, you answered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like
cut you off. Good.
But yeah, so just be careful of pictures of people that are recognizable and be careful of trademarks. But I think there's some really interesting things, and also don't claim them as your own work because that's like kind of fraudulent. So I don't recommend doing that. But you can use Unsplash pictures in your work, and the year in review has some really good leads on where to find some really nice pictures that appear to be legitimate. So yeah, there you go.
That's awesome. Yeah, so my Photoshop, actually both of my Photoshop videos using images from Unsplash, and one of them, the more advanced Photoshop one, I show how you can, by editing these images, you can create some pretty awesome compositions. One of the thing was I took like a lizard and put him in the middle of like Tokyo.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like he's kind of like ready to go destroy the whole city.
Oh, you did the tutorial for the book covers. Yeah, it's really, really good. Isaac made 2 tutorials on book covers. One is just kind of a quick overview on making covers in Canva or Photoshop. The other is a more in-depth Photoshop walkthrough, and it is so good. If you want to learn how to put like a giant lizard in the middle of Tokyo and put that on a book cover, watch Isaac's tutorial. So yay. Okay, oh my gosh, we're rocking through all these things. Let's see. So we've talked about Unsplash, we've talked about tracing, we've talked about Amazon prints. And the other thing I wanted to say is, like, there's a lot of ways to do art. I have to share this. I forgot to share this last week. I had this and I meant to share it. So I was in IKEA and I saw that. What's your thoughts on this art style in IKEA Rising? Like, I know I'm kind of a Neanderthal when it comes to like good art and criticism.
I guess if you really want those colors in your room, this is one way to accomplish it. Those 4 specific colors.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're looking at the 4 splashes. See, this is where I'm like, people get really hung up in art and on being creative, and they're like, oh, I can't draw, I can't create things, I don't have an artistic eye. They're selling that in IKEA. That's like IKEA art. Now, I'm not saying IKEA is like the pinnacle of art, but
right, but I mean, they do hire a lot of creative people to make these decisions.
They have some really bad art in IKEA. That's like not to be too judgy.
Well, that kind of reminds me of something like Duchamp would have done. Okay. So, he's famous for putting the urinal in an art gallery. Yes. And then after that, his other masterpiece was putting a mustache on the Mona Lisa.
Right. So I think there is actually, so my thought with this is that you can get public domain art. Like, you can go to publicdomainreview.org or anything like that. Public Domain Review. Library of Congress has a ton of old artworks. I think the Metropolitan Museum has it has a public domain gallery. Like, there are millions of these pictures out there that you can use that are public domain. You can add anything to them. You can put filters on them. You can put splashes of color on them. Didn't you do a tutorial about putting glasses?
Yes, I did in our T-shirt Revolutionaries. I have a whole Photoshop course. We've taken parts of that and put it on YouTube. That video we didn't put on. I might actually.
Maybe we will.
I've been thinking about it. But one of the things is I show a very common trend is getting an animal, making it black and white and putting red glasses on them.
Yeah, that's
and so
fun.
People just love seeing like glasses, like kind of like nerdy Buddy Holly type glasses on animals. And
so I don't know. Honestly, I think anyone in our group could probably do something more interesting than that with a public domain picture and minimal art skills.
Again, it goes back. You go to Unsplash, get a photo of a generic cat. You can cut out the cat and put the cat on their shoulder.
Procreate on your iPad, and you can do cool things with it. So there we go. Okay, let's move on because we had a few other things to talk about. Oh my gosh, it's a busy day today. Let me see. Okay. Oh, actually, I got to go back there. I know how to use a computer. So, this guy, Yuzaku, I'm not going to try and pronounce it. But anyway, he is a Japanese. Miyazawa.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Wow. You took some Japanese. See, I took Latin. You actually took something useful like Japanese.
But I didn't remember it.
Well, I didn't remember any Latin, so we're kind of even. Anyway, this Japanese billionaire is looking for a female life partner to accompany him on SpaceX's maiden tourist voyage to the moon. So he's going to the moon and he needs someone to go with him.
Wow. Are they going to go populate?
I don't know. That was what I wanted.
The celestial object in space. I want to call it a planet, but it's a moon.
This is very romantic. He says,
Adam and Eve.
With this future partner of mine, I want to shout our love and world peace from outer space.
That's a dream.
It's a good. This is like the best publicity gimmick. Like, this is some marketing next level stuff right here. I'm curious how long it takes. I don't know how long it takes you to go to the moon, though.
You know what happens when this plays out, right? He's gonna find some girl. Yeah, he's a billionaire. How bad can it be? Mm-hmm. They're gonna be on the moon, and they're just gonna be in like spacesuits, going, "Wow,
that's
we're
true.
on the moon. So exciting."
How long does it take to get to the moon? I don't even know. Like, this isn't one of those things where you go for like 40 years and you're never coming back. Like, this is, I don't know. Anyway, so there we go. This guy, oh wow, he gotten fame as a drummer in a hardcore punk band.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I need to learn more about this guy. He's awesome.
Wait, he was a drummer in a hardcore punk band? Now you got my attention. This guy rocks.
He has $3 billion and spends it on art.
Won't be as boring.
Do you think he bought the IKEA picture? I'm like, dude, you don't have to spend $3 billion on art. You can just go to IKEA with $10.
Move over, Elon Musk. There's a new cool billionaire in town.
Well, I think he's friends with Elon Musk.
Well, of course they're buddies.
He's going to fly on SpaceX.
Right. It's
Anyway, I thought that was a great story. So there you go. If you want to go to the moon and you're looking to hook up with a billionaire, Boom, 2 birds, 1 stone, right
and he
there.
can tell you about his time playing drums in a hardcore
That's pretty
punk
cool.
band.
So this is another interesting story. 2 YouTubers. So this is really like a weird thing on YouTube. People are really big on doing reaction videos. So it's like someone makes a video of like, I don't know, a cat doing something cute. And then you film someone having a really over the top reaction to it. Going, oh man, oh my God, look at that. Oh.
That also makes really good thumbnals to put on your YouTube.
Oh yeah, because you we should start doing. Why don't we do that?
I don't know. We need to work on our facial expressions.
Is KDP dead? Is Amazon going to kill us all? Wow.
Wow, we can do this forever.
I know.
All right.
It's great.
The reaction video.
Reaction video. Stay with it, Katharyne.
Oh,
Stay with it. Sorry, I lost it now. Okay. Reaction videos. So there's this YouTube channel that does reaction videos, but the problem is the people who made the original videos are like super mad at them, and they've said they've got to pay up £6,000. I think it's $6,000, or they're going to get them pulled off YouTube, because YouTube has like a 3 strikes you're out policy, and apparently they have like 4 instances of it, so they're like charging them $6,000. So what they're saying is they should have licensed their videos. Now, what I thought was really interesting with this is that they talk later on. So there's a lot of rambling on this.
Yeah.
But they have a lawyer here who actually talks about fair use. And they said that it's actually really difficult to tell whether or not they are using the videos in a fair way or not. So here's the thing, like you can, by law, if you do use like a snippet of someone else's material, it may or it may not qualify as fair use of that, because fair use allows basically newspapers to talk about stories about copyrighted material. It allows people to teach something. Like if you want to make like, I don't know, like if I want to talk about Procreate, right? And I've just shown you my iPad with Procreate on it. It's very unlikely that they're going to sue me and say, you showed Procreate on your screen. Because I'm actually doing something educational. I'm teaching you how to make Procreate, how to make pictures in Procreate. Now, there's basically this sort of sliding slope with copyrighted material of, are you using it in a way that's fair or not? And according to this, they're saying it probably isn't fair use, but like you basically have to go to court and fight over it to decide whether or not it is.
This is weird, because this is like the vein of like YouTube. Are people just reacting to stuff like I mean, they get a lot of views,
right? But there's money in it.
But it's like part of YouTube culture. Like,
and I think this is going to hit Facebook as well, because I mean, everyone shares memes all day long, and someone created those memes originally, and a lot of them are from TV shows. Like all the people showing Baby Yoda, right? It's like, is that fair use? A lot of it just
Disney's
hasn't.
Laying the smackdown on
well,
people.
Disney will lay the hammer down if it's making money. But like people sharing stuff on Facebook is kind of under the radar.
Yeah,
at the moment.
other issue, it's like that meme where you have the guy, he's with his girl and he's turning around looking at the other girl. You know, the famous.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, apparently those models, they said they're getting harassed now because they're like infamously famous all across the world for that dumb meme.
There's people who are making money though because they're in memes. I know, like there's a few people that have done quite well, like Grumpy Cat.
Yes.
Like Grumpy Cat became like a whole
turned it into
thing.
an IP.
So anyway, yeah. I thought this bit was kind of helpful to people who are, whatever you're doing, if you are like always use your own content where possible and don't exploit anyone else's work. However, there are legitimate ways to use other people's content. For example, if you're teaching about something, like literally, I just said YouTube. Like I'm not going to get sued by YouTube for saying YouTube, even though it's a trademark, because the way I'm saying it is fair use. But I thought this was really interesting. This lawyer actually put some comments about what fair use is. So they said if the copyrighted part of the video has been transformed into something new. Now, I think this is under US law, okay, such as commentary or criticism.
Now, isn't that a reaction video? Like, isn't you reacting to it a sense of commentary and criticism?
That's kind of what they're debating. They said this is pretty much on the line of whether it's transformative enough to be fair use.
Okay.
So I think it's kind of an interesting case. I'm interested to watch it and see what happens with this. They said if the original copyrighted work is not being used for profit. So here's the snag that catches like most people who are selling on Amazon and so on. If you're using it commercially, then it's probably not fair use. If you're using someone else's work commercially and you're exploiting their work and making money off it, then probably they're not going to side with you.
Clicking that little button to accept ad revenue, is that commercial purposes?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Because that kind of sounds like you're making money off someone else's work.
Right. And that's the thing. So it's like, it's always hard because I know people come into our group and they're like, I want to put a quote in my book. Can I do it?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like if you go in Barnes and Noble, there's hundreds of books with quotes in them. Like people quote people all the time. And I mean, if you're making a textbook, then it's really unlikely someone's going to have a problem with you putting a quote in there. But the problem is if you like get a journal and then you put that quote on the front cover and the whole selling point of your journal is that quote from someone else, then you're pretty much monetizing someone else's work. And they can come along and say, well, you're using my content and I'm going to complain about it. So Denise says, how do we leverage the different laws in KDP when we publish one book that sells all over the place? That is a really, really good question. If in doubt, I would stick with the US marketplace if you are concerned about copyright law overseas. Now, the thing is, most countries, and I talk about public domain a lot, that's fairly universal because most countries have an agreement on public domain. But honestly, yeah, they do vary from place to place. So if you're using someone else's content, make sure you check the copyright laws everywhere that you use it. Or if you're using public domain, make sure it's public domain in the marketplaces you intend to sell it in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of what we're doing is kind of pioneering. We're kind of ahead of the law in some ways. Like they haven't caught up with some, like we've been having this ongoing discussion about AI and what copyright there is on content created by AI. So it's a really, really complicated, big world of things. I love it. I'm really fascinated by it, especially like public domain. But anyway, I thought I would share this with you. I thought it was kind of interesting that you could look at this article and see some of the criteria that they are using now in 2020 to judge what is fair use in video content, because I think it's fascinating. And it's a little bit scary. Like you don't want to get caught out with this. So be really, really careful. If you're using anyone else's content, make sure the way you are using it is 100% fair use. So yeah, Denise, we can talk more about that in the group. But basically, yeah, if you're using public domain work, then you need to really check that and make sure it's public domain in all the countries you intend to publish. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. And okay, I've got two more stories I wanted to talk about. Whoa, my phone's good. Is that my phone or yours? Oh, it's mine. Yours. Okay. Yes. It's all good. So okay, this one's an interesting one. What do we think about this?
This was really interesting. PayPal acquired the famous extension Chrome Honey. Yeah. And so for $4 billion.
I love Honey. I've been a fan of Honey for quite a long time. So Honey is like a Chrome extension that basically sits there. And when you go to a website and buy something, they run through all the promo codes and see whether they can find you a good deal on it.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Like even when you order pizza, like you go to Pizza Hut or something, you'll get like $5 off most of the time if you have Honey installed. So it's a really, really good deal. But PayPal just bought it, which is kind of mind-blowing.
For $4 billion. This is a free Chrome extension. If someone told you there is a free Chrome extension, one day it's going to be worth $4 billion, you're going to be like, what?
Yeah. Now so it's a good question though. It's like, well, why do PayPal want Honey? What do they want with Honey? And I do wonder if Honey, like how much data collection is going on by Honey.
Well, that's like $1 billion% what they bought.
Well, be careful. Okay, say allegedly.
Well, no, it's data. That's the value. It's the data.
But you don't know what they're collecting. But I mean, my guess is they probably have a database of everything people have bought and what websites people like. That's pretty valuable shopping data right there. like en masse. So kind of interesting to see. I think what's more interesting is that Amazon got like kind of mad about this.
Yes. So PayPal buys honey, and then Amazon did kind of a sneaky move, especially in a critical time. Was it just before Christmas?
They called honey a security risk. So this is pretty fascinating. So PayPal bought out honey, and Amazon are saying honey is a security risk. So I don't know which, but it's kind of funny because it's like how I think the security risk, my guess would be, and I don't know anything about this, my guess would be that they are concerned that honey are intercepting the data of Amazon shoppers.
Yes, absolutely. Amazon is very, very secretive about their users, about their buying behavior. And it's a closed wall. They do have APIs, so you can get some information, but a lot of information, like people are selling data from Amazon just doesn't give it. So it's very interesting to see them wanting to slow that kind of
right.
Scraping down.
I think you're 100% right. Like Amazon are very secretive about their sales data. That's why like we're always like, well, people say, well, can you give a search volume for Amazon for keywords? And I'm like, I can't, because
they don't give you,
Amazon don't release any information on sales, on search volume, anything like that. They don't give you that data.
APIs that they offer are very, very limited. And a lot of it is meant for their pro sellers who
so this is kind of
services.
So this is kind of a workaround if something like honey is actually, and I don't want to say they are doing that because I don't know. Like I have no idea what honey you are collecting or not collecting. But potentially any Chrome extension like that.
Well, they have to collect the data. So what they do is when you go to a site, they see that you have visited this site, you're looking at this product. They connect it with you, they connect the product. The information has to get sent to their servers. They then scan around, seeing if they could find associated products and deals, and then send it back to you saying, here's how you're gonna get a discount. In order for that to happen, they have to take the data and manage it on their end.
It's pretty interesting though. So it's like, who's gonna win this one? Like that's kind of a battle of the giants, Amazon versus PayPal.
Well, Amazon, I mean, I think that was a really easy, that was a low-hanging thing. Just put a little pop-up window. If you have this extension installed, you get to see this warning sign to kind of freak out their customers. A more aggressive approach they could have done was just change up the markup language and make it super difficult for honey to put 2 and 2 together.
Oh, and actually, yeah.
And they can do that if they want to. But
and that's kind of an ongoing problem that Chrome, I know a lot of people who make like Chrome extensions for Amazon and things like that. It's kind of a problem if websites change how they work.
Yeah. So. Is it a security risk? Yeah.
But for who? Is it a risk? Because I've used honey for years and I've had no negative outcome.
Well, it's security risk in the sense of they're collecting private data from you. And the issue is when another company connects that private data, that once that data
like
exists,
that data's now gone to PayPal.
Right. But the problem is that if they have like a data breach, if that data is not secure and a company, an evil company access that data, they can then use it against you on a billion ways, some really subtle and light, others more extreme. So I mean, that's one concern.
But here's the thing, who's to say that Amazon aren't selling all your data?
Well, that's again.
So aren't they just as much a security risk?
Sure. I mean, they well, yeah.
I mean, it basically comes down to who you trust. Is that not like...
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think that the key thing to note here is that these Chrome extensions, they can be sneaky because they do track your browser behavior. They do track things you're doing online. And so it can be an issue. So
there you go. I'm kind of fascinated by that. I'm like, wow, PayPal buying out honey. That's a really interesting thing to go. Stevie says, I sense PayPal downfall. I don't think so. I think PayPal are here for a long time. Like there's a lot of alternatives, but I don't think PayPal's going.
The question is, was that $4 billion? Was that really worth it for PayPal?
That's a lot of money, isn't it? It really
seems a little inflated for an extension. I don't know.
They've got their reasons. I have one other thing I wanted to talk about before we. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. So talking about acquisitions. Google bought an Irish company called Pointy. And what Pointy do is actually really interesting. So this is kind of might be interesting to treasure hunters in the UK, and especially if they are if they start bringing this into the US. So I guess Pointy is a tool for retailers, and they can scan their inventory, and Google keeps track of what inventory is at what stores, like physical stores.
Whoa.
So if you can be like, I want to go and buy printer ink, for example, it will tell you which local stores have printer ink in stock. So I think Google are kind of attacking Amazon with this. It says basically that it's trying to sort of keep where did I read it? Here they said this way: a shopper could more easily purchase a product online and pick it up in store rather than going with a larger retailer like Amazon or Walmart. So it's kind of trying to help out small brick and mortar stores.
Yeah.
You look
I'm
skeptical.
Because from our experience, especially with you treasure hunting and being in the retail arbitrage scene, retail stores, brick and mortar stores are very secretive about their inventory. They don't give that data out. You have to go through a lot of hoops.
I don't know if that's true. Some do. Like, I mean, you can go to Target and they'll tell you if something's in store. I don't know, but I think
sometimes.
I mean, like with sales stuff and clearance stuff, that tends to be like you have to go in and see it for yourself. But I think this could help small brick and mortar stores. I think this is kind of
it's be interesting. Yeah.
So there you go. It's called Pointy. They said it's a $163 million deal.
Wow.
So that'll be interesting to see.
That's a lot lower than honey.
Yeah, no, it really is. Gosh,
put things in perspective.
I know it's fascinating, the honey thing. I think PayPal they want a lot of consumer data. I think that's kind of it. So yeah, okay. Well, I think, gosh, we had a lot in today's show. Yeah, so I think that's an hour up. I hope you all enjoyed the show. We will be back next week. Any final thoughts? It's like Jerry Springer.
Any final thoughts? No final thoughts.
Okay.
After all that.
Like,
it was like the build up, the intensity, and then nothing.
Namaste. All right, guys, have an awesome week. We will be back next week. Thank you for watching the show. We do appreciate you. We are gonna go and I would like ice cream. Can we go get ice cream?
Go get you ice cream.
Okay. All right. Have a good one, guys. Oh wait, there we go. All right. Have a good one, guys. We love you. Bye.
Bye.